Okay, hi Amy. I'm just going to show you how I went about finding articles on your topic. Start at the library's homepage, which is fhsu.edu/library. Or from any Fort Hays page, you can go to Current Students and click on Forsyth Library. Okay, and I'm going to go to the the Education Research Guide by clicking on Find Research Guides by Subject. Then scroll down to Education. And there's several, but I'm going to click on this long one here, the main Education Research Guide. These are guides that we've created to pull all of the relevant resources together on a topic in one place. Each one of these is a different page covering a different subject. So I'm going to go into Finding Articles in Online Databases. And over here on the right, you see a list of the best databases for education. So I'm going to go into the top one, Education Source. And I'm going to go ahead up here in the blue toolbar and sign in. This is different than your TigerTracks account. You may have been prompted to enter your TigerTracks to get into the databases. I've already created my account, so I'm just going to log in. This allows you to save items and searches that you can come back to later. So I'm going to go into my folder and show you my search history. And I've tried several different topics. I started out with just a very basic search, ADHD or attention deficit and services or support. I'm just going to rerun that one. Okay. And I remember you said that you had some articles that you were not able to access the entire item. I'm not sure where you were, but just to show you, most databases have some that are what we call full text. They have a link to the complete article, and others that do not, and instead they have this Find It at Forsyth. And if you click that, it will look in our other databases to see if we have it somewhere else. And if you don't find it, you can use Interlibrary Loan to request it. I'm just going to go back to the research guide. There's a page for Interlibrary Loan that walks you through the steps of getting it. Okay, so this one, your search did not match any resource in the library. So that one we do not have. So that's one you would need to use Interlibrary Loan to get. If you don't want to mess with that, you can limit your search to full text. And I'm also limiting to scholarly, peer-reviewed articles. So just be aware that if you do that, you may be missing out on some articles, so you can always take that off if you're not finding enough. But now everything has a link to the full article, and everything is coming from an academic journal. Okay, so when you get a hit, you have the title, of course, and then here you have the subject headings. So these are the main topics of the article as the database is describing them. And every database uses a little bit different language. So here's attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder. Let's see. Attention deficit disorder in adults. And so if you searched those, you would get items that focused on that particular topic. If you click on the title, you get into what's called the record. And now those are hyperlinks so that you can search for them. You mentioned when we talked earlier that the validity of the diagnosis was kind of an issue that you might be interested in, saying some teachers may not believe it's really a valid disorder. So you could search on that. I found that one of the best searches was to do special education as a subject heading, because I saw that it was a subject heading in some of the articles, and then just attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder also as a subject. Okay, it's a new search, so it's taken off our limits. Okay, here's one, ADHD and educational challenge. If you mouse over these, you can see the abstracts. And if you go into the detailed record, sometimes you can't get the whole abstract doing it that way, so you could see the rest of that. You can see the hyperlinked subject headings. You can get to the full text if there is one. You can also get to the cited references. And you can add it to your folder, which I have done earlier. And since you said you wanted to focus on behavior possibly, I'm just going to add behavior in there, just as a keyword. Okay, so various articles on that. Okay, here's the school supports checklist. So this would give you a good listing of all the different things that you can do in the classroom to help children with ADHD. And this gives some information, and then it gives you a chart with all the various interventions that you might do. And I had added this to the folder. And again, in the subject headings, if you look, there's one, ADHD children behavior modification. So it's focusing on that. And the words review, literature review, systematic review, those are all good words to look for because it means they are gathering up a lot of similar research studies and comparing them. So it's good for you to, it would be helpful for writing a lit review. Another thing I wanted to point out to you is it's always good if you find an article that you like. In order to find additional ones, you should check the references that it cites at the end of the paper. This database sometimes makes it easy for you. It may have a link to the cited references. So if you look at those, it has already got it set up with the links to look for it, or if it's full text within this database, you can just get right to it. And it also tells you a little bit about who has cited this particular article. So what newer articles cited this. Only showing the ones that are in this particular database. Okay, so that also is a nice shortcut. Okay, I wanted to show you another trick that you can do. I've gone back to a more basic search, ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity. The reason you put those in the same box connected with or is that they mean basically the same thing, And so you're putting in additional terms in hopes of getting all possible results, whether it calls it ADHD or if it spells it out. So I'm combining that with and behavior or behavior management. Now, okay, I'll go ahead and search that. Okay, so we got quite a few. Now, if you wanted to, you can come up here to choose databases if you haven't gotten enough results, and you can add additional databases. We could add in ERIC. I'm going to add in the psychology database. Let's just see. Okay, so that increased our results. We can limit to full text and peer-reviewed. Okay. Okay, here's one: teachers reported use of behavior management in relation to their level of training in ADHD. Effects of a collaborative behavior management plan on reducing disruptive behaviors. Okay, so that one looks good. ADHD comorbid with oppositional defiant disorder. As you probably know, comorbid means having more than one diagnosis at the same time. Okay, so there's quite a bit on here. Methods to improve academic performance. Okay, that's from 2004. So you just, these are in order of reference, so you just, order of relevance, so you just want to pay attention to how old they are. Okay, and it says full text is available from ERIC. We'll see if that works. Okay, here, download full text. So again, start with keywords, pay attention to the subject headings or descriptors and see which ones are relevant and then combine those. And I'm going to go up into my folder. Okay, so I'm up to, I've got 24 that I have selected. Some of these are not all on behavior, some of them are reviews. I've just been putting these in my general folder, so I came down here and did new and created a new folder called Attention Deficit Disorder. So I'm going to move these, select all, move to Attention Deficit Disorder. Okay, so it's saying there's no items because now I'm in my general folder. So open up Attention Deficit Disorder, and here's my articles. And I wanted to quickly show you a neat trick that you can do with this now that you have things in a folder. I'm going to select all and then say export. And I want to direct export in RIS format because I'm going to use EasyBib. Okay, and save. I don't want to remove them. I want to keep them in my folder. Okay, if you want APA, you have to sign up for the Pro, which is, you can do a month for $5, I think, and it's $20 for a whole year. So you do APA and then go to all 59 options and then update or upload database import. Okay, and it's always this RIS file. isn't it letting me create a list? Okay, show bibliography. Select all. Export to Word. And there you have your list of references. Now these are not precisely correct. You're going to have to go in and tweak them. For example, here the month should not be in there, and often the things are not capitalized right, but it's certainly a shortcut. Okay, so I'm back in my EBSCOhost folder. The other thing you can do is share this with people. So I'm going to come down here to this folder and click on Share. And then I can just put your email in here. Okay, so I put your email in. I'm going to take off this restrict passcode and send that to you. So you should be able, by doing that, to access everything I have in my folder, all of these 24 articles. Okay, I've found a few other sources, and I just want to show you one trick that I haven't yet, which is using Google Scholar to find articles that have cited another article. I'm going to look at this one because it's from 2002. A review of the research on intervention, what works best. So that might be something we would like to have more up-to-date information on that. So I'm just going to copy the title, go to Google Scholar. Oops. Okay, so here it is, and it says it's been cited by 199. So that tells you that if this was a pretty influential article. It's been cited by so many. And you'll see there's Google Scholar, and then there's also Web of Science, which is another database that does the same thing. So you can look at both of those because they're not always identical. So if I look at this one, I'm taken into the list, and you can search. If you're wanting to narrow this down, you can search within this. Okay, here's one, a meta-analysis of behavioral treatments for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. A meta-analysis is where they, like a systematic review, where they're gathering up a bunch of studies on the same topic and comparing them. And we can get to that. There's a link to this. It's in Science Direct. Okay, and here's the article. And you can just keep on. If you find something really good, you can just kind of keep tracing how things develop. So that's basically what a literature review is. You want to trace the development of research on a particular topic. So by looking at the references that one article cites, that's sort of researching backwards. That's what's come before. And if you go into and see what cited that article using Google Scholar or Web of Science, then you're sort of researching forward, because these are newer articles, and you can just keep on with that process, either using Google Scholar or like Web of Science will tell you when it's been cited, that kind of thing. Okay, so to sum up, I went to the Education Research Guide, used the best education databases, started out with some basic keyword searches, and then looked at the subject headings so I could focus my search. Try a different combination of those. Sign into your folder so you can be keeping track of what you find. If you find a good article, look at its references, either by looking at in the article itself, or see if it has a cited references link, so it will kind of do that step for you, which is researching backward. And then use Google Scholar or Web of Knowledge to find articles that cited your original article, which is researching forward, so you can find newer things. And remember that if you are not finding what you need, or you find something that we do not own, you can always get it through interlibrary loan.